And are these proposals in favor of the old gringos, or are they not in favor
Dude,
of the old?
I would say the vast majority of people are really pissed off with these new rules. I mean, it's not good.
Okay, hit us with some rules.
It's the Colombia Podcast Show.
Welcome to the Colombia Podcast. My name is Andrew Messia.
I'm Joel Duncan.
And you are?
Alan Gongora.
How you doing?
Good.
How you doing, Joel?
I'm doing great. I'm a bit nervous with so many people here. I mean, it's
Well,
not
yeah.
my living room.
Yeah, a lot of people have been asking me that, whether your panties match your shirt.
Definitely do. I always color coordinate. How about you? How are your panties?
I don't wear panties. Yeah, I'm going commando today. So today is a very special day because we're having Alan Gongora back on the podcast. He was on before where he talked to us about things that you can and can't do in Colombia legally, what happens if you get in trouble.
All right.
He's our lawyer.
Yeah.
We use him a lot because we get in trouble a lot.
Andrew gets in trouble a lot. I get out of trouble a lot. Yeah.
So go ahead and introduce yourself, Alan.
All right, so my name is Alan Gongora. I manage a U.S. law firm as well as one here in Colombia. We do a little bit of everything, but specifically international investment, visas, that kind of thing. So.
All right.
International investment.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So talking about international investment, one of the things we're here to talk about tonight is, most of us share a very common story. We come to Medellin, we party, we learn how to dance reggaeton and salsa like Adam and other people in the crowd, and then we just want to stay, and we really don't know how to stay. And a lot of us are staying here legally, some of you illegally. But I think one of the biggest questions that people always write in and ask us is, once they fall in love with Colombia, how do they stay longer? Now, there's student visas and that type of stuff, which we've been through before, so we're not going to touch on student visas. So we wanted Alan to come here to tell everyone, including you guys watching and those listening. I heard that there's been some really big changes in terms of visa requirements and how to get a visa to stay in Colombia. So we're going to kick it off there, and this is all about, to start, how to get a visa to stay here and what the changes are that could affect you.
So real quick, right now the rules that apply have been in place for at least 3 years, but just this year they published new rules that they're thinking of applying and approving. But they haven't been approved yet, and it's unclear when it's going to happen. But these are pretty drastic changes to the current visa rules.
And when you say they've been approved, that means they're going to happen, COC, they're going to happen. It's just a matter of when, or could they suddenly say these changes are never going to happen?
It's unclear. So in the past 10 years, there have been 3 sets of draft rules, and they've all been approved.
Okay.
But this year, it's a weird year because it's an election year. And whoever obviously knows about Colombia, they know that right now they're in the middle of an election year. And it's unclear what will happen because these rules were pushed by the current administration. And if a new administration comes in, they might just take those rules and chop them up and do something completely different.
Or they could just say those rules don't apply?
That's right. That's right. So it's unclear what will happen. My guess is that they'll wait until after the new administration comes into office in August. And at that point, they'll either approve the proposals or chop them up and then do something completely different.
And are these proposals in favor of the old gringos, or are they not in favor of the old?
I would say the vast majority of people are really pissed off with these new rules. I mean, it's not good.
Okay, hit us with some rules. And I see some faces here. They're like, what are these rules?
All right, so let me give you 2 or 3 key things that are happening with these new rules. Again, we don't know if the final rules are going to be these rules. But number 1, the new rules are very not foreign investment friendly. In other words, if you're a foreigner and you're coming to Colombia and you want to invest, these rules aren't very favorable to you.
Okay.
Right? So number 1, right now you invest around 160, 170K, you get a residency visa, that's gone.
For how long? How long do you get that residency?
5 years.
So you could basically buy your way into the country
Oh
for
yeah.
160.
Right now you can.
So they'll be gone.
That's gone.
If it gets passed, they'll be gone.
That's gone.
Like not even a chance. Not even if I had $1 million.
Gone.
That sucks.
Right. The second thing, and this is another big one in my opinion. So there's a lot of foreigners that come to Colombia, and they're independently wealthy. Maybe they have a pretty good, nest egg, and they live off the nest egg. Every month they receive a little bit of a payout. Maybe it's an annuity, whatever. Basically, they can live off that investment. And right now you get what's called a Rentista visa. It's a migrant visa, and you can eventually get residency. That visa is gone. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore with these new rules. So again, people who have some money to invest, these rules are not very friendly, and it's unclear why, but they're basically not really happy with that.
They don't want rich people.
They don't want rich people, but they also don't want other types of foreigners. Let me give you a huge change. So a lot of our business is people coming from all over the world. They're retirees. Many are receiving pensions. Maybe they're veterans, right? More and more, these guys are required to provide a medical certificate to show that they're not subject to some kind of weird medical issue. And think about it. So I'm a retiree. I might be in my 60s, 70s, but I have some health issues.
Yeah.
I might not get a visa because the government doesn't want to run that risk of having to pay for my medical expenses if I get to Colombia and like 10 years down the line, I can't pay for myself.
Okay.
And here's another one, a mental health certificate, more and more for retirees, pensioners. So if you suffer from PTSD, some other mental health issues, you might not get a visa, right? And more, they're implementing what a lot of countries already have, which is a criminal background check. Years ago, that was not a thing. Now it's becoming more of a thing.
Well, me and Andrew slipped in real fast.
You slipped in real easy.
Okay, and a lot of people in this crowd slipped in real easy.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of you that's going to get kicked out with me and Andrew, along with us. But yeah, and so mental health background check.
Oh yeah.
So I got a question. So like, what does that mean? Because at the beginning you said it depends on who gets elected. So I'm assuming the conservative is the one that's not going to let this go through.
Well, the current administration is the administration that's pushing these changes. Okay. So it stands to reason that if the socialist candidate, which appears to be on his way to winning, maybe the changes they'll push will be even more drastic. But these changes are based on what the current administration wants to do. So again, it's a little unclear why it's happening. And again, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Basically,
Is it really unclear, though? Is it really unclear as to why these changes are happening?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
Well, I don't know. I'm just going to throw my opinion out there and then get shit on tomorrow on
Go
YouTube,
for it.
but that's neither here nor there.
Go for it.
So these changes are anti-foreigners coming with money and buying property and buying business. I don't know about the mental health part and stuff. That's different. Well, obviously we want to.
It's more of a burden on the healthcare system.
It's a burden, and I get that, right? I don't know if to go to Canada, and I'm Canadian. I don't know if we require a mental health check or not. That's hardcore because there are people that do suffer from mental health problems, many more than we actually know, that are medicated and are living life like I'd say any of us. And I think that they also deserve that chance, not because they have a mental health issue.
But dude, listen, again, we've been here a long time. We do a lot of different types of law. And I'll be honest, more and more I am seeing foreigners with serious mental health issues. There's, substance abuse stuff going on. And plenty of veterans who are, they're fine, but some are not. And we are often asked to represent people who, everything happens to them, and it's, one fight at a club versus, this happening to them, they get arrested, and we have to represent a lot of these people, and I feel anecdotally that it's getting worse. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if it means that there's more foreigners coming in with these issues or they're more visible. I don't know, but bottom line, the administration, the government is taking notice, and that's the reality.
So
Joel, you were going to give your opinion.
No, I mean, I think that at the end of the day, most laws that get passed are based on some interest group and their interest.
Oh, yeah.
And in most cases, it has to do with finances. And again, the mental health part's very small. And I would say, okay, go ahead if that's what you want. You want a sane Colombia? Go ahead. There's a lot of us insane Colombians here already. But this stuff of like blocking money from coming in, and I guess buying your way in. I mean, it makes it fair. It evens out the playing field for everyone. But it also protects the local people with all the money that can buy all streets and everything else. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a few people, foreigners coming here and buying the properties in Manila and maybe setting up an Airbnb or a Ulala or an Ihamia that can't get a visa based on that because they're now the bad guy. And I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily right. I think that, again, there's a lot of, somebody pointed out on our YouTube channel that there's a lot of gentrification and stuff going on, but there's a lot of jobs coming up. Look at how many, there's 9 people working here tonight, right? That are based on foreign ownership, right? So
Dude, that's my argument.
Okay.
And that's the argument of a lot of foreign investors, business people. That I get that. The counter argument is that this area 15 years ago had people living here with very limited economic means, and they're no longer here. Where do they go? Right? And I think that's probably the genesis of some of these changes. And again, it's an unending argument. My own view is very simple. Foreigners can be good for a country. They can come, they can expand businesses, they can create jobs. We can kind of bring what we know and show the local culture what we know. And as we're doing that, they show us how to do their thing. And we become better employers, we become better investors, we become better people. And it's that interaction that I think
that's missing?
That I think we should always focus on, you know, and a lot of people focus on what ends because of foreigners. I focus on what's created, if that makes sense.
So how soon, let's say, you know, come the elections and we get a new president and these new laws are in place, how soon is that going to take effect?
It's unclear. So if the current administration sees that the new administration is this socialist group, which could come to power, they might just do a big FU and approve these rules before they come in. That's a possibility. If the socialist doesn't win, they might still approve, or they might wait for the new administration to come in, review and approve before it's actually implemented. It's just unclear right now.
Right.
If it was a different year, I think I would imagine this would be done fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But this year is just very, very uncertain.
What about your business, man? Like, you depend a lot on the foreigners that come here, that come to invest, that come to live, to get a visa, et cetera. Let's say these rules do get passed. What would happen to your business? Have you thought about that?
A little bit. I think, our business, we're very lucky. I'm very lucky. So again, my main business is in the States. I'm a corporate U.S. attorney. I do 100% U.S. law. The Colombian side of this was just a side project. It was my podcast for a while. And it just exploded. So for our local business, it would be an impact in some ways. But I think we've diversified to the point where, we just don't do visas. We just don't do real estate. We're now really doing very high-end legal work within the economy. So I don't think that's going to be. The other thing is, it's going to be impossible to put a stop to the expansion of tourism in Colombia. It's impossible. I mean, everyone loves Colombia. You get here, these people get here the first time around, and they cannot believe what they're seeing. And whatever they do on the visa side, that's not going to stop. People will continue coming. People are going to continue investing. It's just a matter of degree and also focus. I think long term, it's only going to go up. I don't think it's going to go down.
Interesting. And are those the only changes, or are there some other ones that people should know about?
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that are specific to different types of visa types. So, for example, and this is a big one, a lot of people come to Colombia, they want to get a visa, they don't know what to do, and somewhere here, I'm sure there's one or two, maybe there's 20.
Probably Adam Sweeney.
Adam Sweeney, 100% Adam Sweeney.
Yeah.
So you don't quite understand. You don't know exactly which option to choose. Nothing quite fits. And then you go, you know what? I'll ask my girlfriend if she'll marry me.
I may or may not have considered that years ago. I actually sat
Yeah.
in a car.
You got married in a car?
No, he was crying in the car.
I was
and
crying
then-
in the car because
Oh,
I
you
had
were
to leave
crying in the
next
car.
Had
day.
to leave, yeah.
And honestly, it was a consideration, man. I think a
Yeah.
lot of guys, at least, we get to that last week where we're like, how the hell do I stay here and not have to go back and be myself back home? And we consider the whole marriage thing, and I literally did, you know. I'm like, well, it's not really marriage. It's just, you know, this little thing. It's just a little paper. I'm really happy that I didn't do it because here I am. I figured my stuff out with you guys, by the way, and I'm going to say thank you after all these years. His firm actually did my visa for about 7 years, and here I am. People are like, so what do you think about this Alan guy and his firm? I'm like, well, I'm here. And but the marriage thing is definitely what I think that the last resort that everybody thinks about.
So real quick on that. So right now, if you wanted to get what's called a marriage visa,
Yeah.
you can then apply for residency in just a couple of years. So it's a really good visa to have. What they're going to do is they're going to split that visa into two parts.
Okay.
The first part is a regular civil marriage. So this is where you have that ceremony,
Right.
maybe in a car, maybe at an actual wedding banquet, ceremony, the whole thing,
Yeah.
civil marriage. The second one is what a lot of these guys might be doing, which is a regular common law marriage. It's what's called Unioin Libre,
Okay.
right? And I don't get it. It's still marriage, but people think it's not marriage. It's marriage, folks. It's marriage.
Is there a ring?
You don't need a ring.
As my girl Beyonce would say.
Put a
you're
ring
living
on it.
together
There's no
for a
ring
while.
on it.
Put a ring on
it
it.
doesn't count.
Anyway, so this visa is super easy to apply for, and suddenly you're ahead of the pack. They're changing it up. Now, if you're getting that Union Libre visa, you got to wait 1 year before you can apply. And instead of getting residency in just a couple of years, you have to now wait 5 years.
Okay.
And here's the kicker. You only get a 1-year visa. So every year you have to apply to get this new visa.
Why are they making
Every
marriage harder and
single-
harder for everyone out
Oh,
here?
thank
man?
God.
Nobody-
I mean, who wants to
okay,
get
true.
married?
Who wants to get married?
Who wants to get married? And that's a big deal for a lawyer because I see so many divorces. It's
So you
crazy.
got to wait 1 year to apply for the visa. Then you got to live with so then you live with the person for 5 years?
Yep.
Or technically live with the person for 5 years?
So that's
Yeah.
assuming that this law would get passed.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So like
Oh, yeah.
this information may be very valuable if it does get passed, but let's say it doesn't get passed. If someone has the money to invest right now into real estate
Yeah.
here in Colombia, how much money would they need, and what's that process like?
So you get a 5-year residency visa when you invest around 160, 170K, right?
Hard, cold cash, by the way, we're talking about.
Called cash, right? And you get a 5-year visa, and then every year you just kind of get a new visa stamp. So you kind of keep it for as long as you want.
So it's basically just you invest 160,000.
Yeah.
And you get this visa for 5 years, but there's nothing stopping you for renewing it forever.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Show of hands, how many people here have 160,000? So we got 2 people in the audience.
We got
That's
2
great.
people.
So any of you illegal motherfuckers, well,
Any of you Colombian girls that need to get married to a gringo?
yeah,
$160,000.
pure marriage visas coming your
Oh
way,
my
man.
God.
Just pure okay.
By the way, get a prenup. That's all I
Get a
want to say.
prenup.
Prenup.
Okay.
Get a prenup.
Yeah.
So wait, so
That's
you
important.
were saying earlier though that you've got 3 bits of advice for any foreigner that's gonna invest in property in Colombia.
Yep.
First tip.
So these are the 3 top things. I mean, there's a bunch, but these I would say are like the headlines when you're buying property in Colombia. Number 1, and I'm very well known for this in the market. I keep saying the same thing. Local real estate agents suck. They're horrible. They're horrendous. Again, some are great, but in general, it's a horrible industry.
Why is that? Why is that? Because I'm sure that they're saying gringo agents suck.
Or gringo clients, like the local.
Oh,
agents might
gringo
be
clients
saying,
can
gringo
suck as
clients
well,
suck.
of course.
Yeah. So why do
So-
these local people suck?
Well, I think the genesis of this, excuse me, is, there's no real licensing for real estate agents in Colombia.
Okay.
Right.
Anybody could be a real estate agent.
Yeah, my grandmother could be a real estate agent. So that's problematic.
Okay.
Secondly, there's just a lot of issues, ethical issues. A lot of agents that we work with, there's plenty of violations of ethics. Whatever you tell your agent, it's not even possible. I think it's more likely than not that they will tell the seller or the seller's agent. They want to keep that commission as high as possible. So you go to your agent and say, you know what? Offer them $200K, but don't go above 250.
He has 250. They're going to say he has about 250.
250. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 250.
Because they can get a higher commission if that seller.
Of course.
Okay.
There's double dealing. We've had plenty of situations where we provide a title analysis to a client, and we're like, you know what? Be careful with this issue. And the agent says, who cares? Just sign the contract. And we're like, what? So I think it's important for all agents, so important for all clients and people who are purchasing to have a local agent. I think it's important because they don't know what they're doing. It's a new market. They don't know what's going on. But they really need to know how to manage these guys. The second thing real quick is you want to make sure that you know how to pay the seller. Sometimes it takes a while to structure that process. So you want to get that started ASAP. A lot of the times, foreigners open up local brokerage accounts, and that process can take weeks. You don't want to start buying a property and then finding a property and then taking 6 weeks to open up a brokerage account.
Yeah, because nobody wants that. They want their money right away.
They want their money right away.
Okay.
And the third thing, my last point here is this. Excuse me. The third thing is there's this distinction in Colombia forever and ever and ever. When Colombians bought property from each other, you could use a lower value in the documentation than what you're actually paying. Okay? So there's the commercial value. This is what you're actually paying the seller. And then what they want to do is, put a lower value because that way they don't report as much of the gain to the local tax authorities. You do not want to do that. Yeah. This is the single biggest issue with transactions because you can start, you talk to the seller and say, hey, I'll buy this property for $10. And then you start the process, everything's hunky-dory, and then the seller goes, okay, let's put 5. And you're like, no, let's put 10. And they're like, no, it's 5. And then,
because on the books it says that their property is worth 5.
Yes.
Or that they received 5.
They received 5.
Yeah, not worth it.
But when you sell it for 15, you're going to get killed tax-wise because it says 5 in the documentation.
You bought it for 50% less, yeah.
Exactly.
So it'd kill you when you go declare taxes.
Absolutely. So you do not want to do that ever.
All right. Well, does anybody in the crowd have any questions for our guest, Alan? We got one over here.
He's gonna be out here asking where you can buy small diapers.
We'll repeat it.
What you gonna with you?
What about school visa? How does that work here?
Okay, so the question is for those of you guys watching the live and the video, school visa or student visa, how does that work?
So there are a couple of different types of student visas. The most popular one for foreigners is just a regular student visa for stuff like maybe learning Spanish, okay? And they're useful because as a foreigner, most of you guys can stay in Colombia for 6 months, a calendar year as tourists. But if you don't quite know if you're going to stay long term or you don't quite fit any kind of visa situation, you can get a short-term student visa and bridge that gap between July to December, for example. That's the most useful option there for student visas. Occasionally, we do have foreigners who want to study an actual coursework. They want to study history or business or something. And that's a migrant visa that eventually leads to residency because the first type of visa won't get you that. It's just a way to stay short-term in the country.
All right. Okay. We had another question over there.
Yeah.
So if you marry someone here on what's it called? Union Libre?
Yeah.
Are they entitled to 50% of your assets and vice versa?
So the question is, if you marry someone, a Colombian here through Unioin Libre, are they entitled to 50% of your assets?
Right. So the answer is whether you're getting a civil marriage or a common law marriage, which is the Unioin Libre that you're talking about, it's a marital relationship. Like you're married.
Yeah.
The distinction is that with the Unioin Libre, you enter the marriage by living with someone. That's how you become married in that scenario. You're living with someone. And you end it by basically leaving. Just you guys split up, you start your life somewhere else.
There's no legal divorce or anything?
There's no.
Okay.
Although a lot of the time you go to a notary and you declare it.
Okay.
And then you want to absolutely cancel that. legally, because even though you moved out, you definitely want to cancel that.
Okay.
So to answer your question, if you live with someone for 2 years, after that 2-year mark, it's very similar to regular marriage. The person is entitled to any gain on any assets that the parties accumulated during that relationship. Anywhere, worldwide.
Anything you report, basically.
We're currently managing a litigation in the States because one of the partners basically is going after our client for everything. And they have a really good lawyer. They have U.S. representation, so they're going full out on that.
So the moral of the story, my friend,
Yeah.
is don't get married ever.
Or sign a prenup.
Just get a prenup. Get a freaking
But
prenup.
that makes it awkward, and then the person might say no.
Just
No.
get a prenup.
All right.
We got one
simple.
more question from the internet.
The interwebs?
So Miles wants to know any news on the Nomad visitor visa.
Miles on
So-
the internet wants to know, is there any news on the Nomad visitor visa?
So the Nomad visa is something that the government has been trying to kind of think about implementing for a long time, right? And these new rules that are being proposed has a Nomad visa in there. It would be a visitor's visa. It would not lead to residency.
Okay.
But it fills this great gap because a lot of you guys don't come to Colombia to invest. Maybe you don't have the 160, 170 K to invest. You're not getting married. Who wants to get married?
Yeah.
Don't want to start a business.
You don't want to start a business. You're kind of in this weird nomad
You just
land.
want a backpack and some sandals
Exactly.
and roam the earth.
So this will fill a really good gap, but until it's approved, who knows? Again, it will be for 2 years, and it would apply to people who are, think about it. You're like an independent contractor. You have a bunch of different clients. You're traveling the world. Maybe you're a designer, maybe a developer or something. That'd be perfect for that person. Or maybe you have a startup.
Yeah.
And you're a shareholder in a startup, and you're just traveling the world. That'd be perfect. But right this second, it hasn't been implemented.
But what do you have to? I mean, so
Yeah.
I'm out there, a graphic designer. I show up here. I've got some clients outside. Like, what? Let's say it does happen. What would I have to actually show that I'm sane mentally, and what else do I have to show as this?
So you would want to show that you make a certain amount of money.
Okay.
Right now, again, it's provisional, but it looks like it's going to be around $1,000, maybe less than that a month. If you can show you're making around that amount of money with bank statements and things like that, I think you're good. You want to also show that you're an independent contractor or you're a startup owner or something.
Yeah,
So
some sort
those
of
those documents, are up for debate.
The world
we'll
just
need what
got
that
flipped
means.
on side,
Yeah.
on top of his head, people. So what's
Yeah.
actually happening is if you have 160,
You can't.
you
come.
can't come here
But
if
if
you have
you-
160 because you've done too well. But if you can make 400 a month, come on in.
1,000.
Come on in. I
Less than
love
a
it.
grand.
Yeah,
I
but
love
that's assuming that the administration will approve
Yeah.
it and all that stuff. So
An
we don't
amazing
know yet.
administration.
So that's a good. Yeah.
Amazing, Alan. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Hey, round of
thank you for
applause
coming out, man.
for
Thank you for dropping
Alan.
knowledge.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
So
Love it.
for those of you guys watching this video, make sure to like and subscribe. The Colombia podcast on the Spotify, YouTube,
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, anywhere else.
And how do they find you and your firm?
Law firm is LangonColombia.com, LANGON Colombia.com. And that's all we're promoting, honestly. It's just our
Awesome.
website. So we're good.
Amazing, man. Thank
All
you
right.
very much,
well,
man.
thank you.
So wait,
man.
where's Lau?